My last story has to do with a Harvard researcher that was detained for 4 months for trying to smuggle frog embryos into the United States. So I have my ground news agitator pulled up, and it says that we have center-leaning distribution on this, but we don't. So looking at the bias distribution, it says 55% lean left, 38% center, 8% right. Maybe it's saying that the bias, it says bias comparison. I'm not sure what this means, but why it has center highlighted here. And you can't see my cursor on the screen anymore, so you don't even know where I'm pointing at. But yeah, so this is mostly being reported by the left, which means it's a blind spot story for the right. And with how a lot of people on the right feel about immigration, they may think that this is a good thing. I personally don't, which is why I picked this story out to highlight today. It says Russian-born Harvard researcher was detained for nearly 4 months after trying to smuggle in frog embryos. So I have my stories sorted by factuality. I believe I have this one from Matt's Live pulled up, it looks like, which says it's very high factuality with a center-leaning distribution. We'll come over here and we'll read it. It says Harvard researcher released from custody after months in detention. Harvard University researcher Ksenia Petrova smiles after being... Oh, this is just the caption. Okay. Ksenia Petrova, a Russian scientist at Harvard University's medical school who was detained after being accused of smuggling undeclared frog embryos into the United States, was released from custody Thursday. Petrova was arrested by ICE agents at Logan International Airport on February 16th after returning from a trip to France with what were described in court filings as non-hazardous, non-infectious, and non-toxic frog embryos. That sounds dangerous. She's remained in custody for nearly 4 months since her arrest. That is insane. The Department of Homeland Security, through a spokesperson, claimed Petrova knowingly broke the law and took deliberate steps to evade it. The statement read, the department claimed text messages revealed she planned to smuggle the materials through customs without declaring them. I wonder if they had a warrant to be searching her text messages and phones. This seems dystopian. I mean, okay, we're just going to read the article. A federal court judge in Vermont ordered Petrova released last month, court records show. She was brought to Massachusetts for detention hearing on a single count of smuggling goods into the U.S. Following the hearing Thursday, Magistrate Judge Judith G. Dean allowed Petrova's release on conditions. I just want to thank everybody, Petrova said outside a federal building in Boston shortly after her release. A lot of people started contacting me and sending me letters, and it was a huge support without which I wouldn't be able to survive. I never really felt alone at any minute I was in custody, and it really helped very much. Petrova, 30, who was brought into court wearing an orange jumpsuit, has been in federal custody since February. Lawyers on both sides came to an agreement on the condition for Petrova's release, which included limiting her travel. Authorities are still holding on to her passport. Petrova must return to court next week for a probable cause hearing on the smuggling charge. George Romanovsky, Petrov's attorney, said his client hasn't decided whether she wants to stay in the United States yet. She has offers from different countries around the world, countries that are eager to support the important research that she's doing. She's weighing her options at the moment, and she's very grateful to be out. She told the Associated Press in an interview in April that she did not realize the items needed to be declared and was not trying to sneak anything into the country. In May, Petrova was charged with smuggling in Massachusetts as a federal judge in Vermont set the hearing date on her petition. That judge later ruled that the immigration officer's actions were all unlawful, that Petrova didn't present a danger, and that the embryos were non-living, non-hazardous, and posed a threat to no one. The judge released Petrova from ICE custody, but she remained in the custody of U.S. Marshal Service on the smuggling charge before her release on Thursday. Colleagues and academics have testified on Petrova's behalf, saying that she is doing valuable research to advance the cures for cancer. And that's a huge, huge part of this. I had another story pulled up that was talking about one of her colleagues from Harvard saying that she is doing research that nobody else can do. Like, she's trying to find ways to it's like image identifying for cancer, and like she's got this whole algorithm or something that like she's the only one who knows how it works, and these people are like, this is a ridiculous arrest. But it just goes to show you that this is the kind of thing that's happening in the United States right now. I saw an article a few days ago about how the biggest TikToker in the world has left because like he was detained by ICE. What are we doing right now? Is this the 1950s McCarthyism? Is this like 1930s Germany? What is going on in the United States right now? It's not a joke. It's not hyperbole to say this when these kinds of stories are happening on a regular basis. So I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent. I think the story speaks for itself, but I think that it's an important question to ask. Hey, thanks for watching that clip from Nightly News this morning. I'm Cousin Matt. Please make sure to drop the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure that notifications are on, so that otherwise, how are you going to know when my videos come out, right? Anyway, thanks, take care, and we'll see you on the next one.